Hey there guys, so last time in the recap we saw that Akatsuki and Miu were living a very normal life on Earth. Miu was the Dark Lord's daughter, and after Akatsuki defeated her father, he entrusted Miu to Akatsuki because he knew Miu would become a target of humans because she's his daughter, so Akatsuki was trying to fulfill a dying man's wish. But the humans from another world decided to anyhow get their hands on Miu. They wanted to wipe the whole bloodline of the Dark Lord, and decided to send one of their men to Earth. At that time, everyone in the Babel Academy were in the middle of their final exams, which was a combat test, and that's when Motoharu drops by to inform Akatsuki that an unknown attacker has attacked their school. So now, as the story continues, Miu was with her friends and that's when that attacker showed up. From the symbol on its armor, Miu realized he's from the Dystian Empire and he's here for her. The situation had become dire, and after the whole fight Akatsuki arrived at the scene. There he found Kazuha and Izumi all injured in critical condition. Yet Kazuha told Akatsuki that they were defeated by a strange man and Miu said he was from the Dystian Empire, so Miu lured him away to save them. Phil was enjoying his time to hunt his prey. And after some emergency first aid healing, Akatsuki was ready to leave, but first he told the student council to split up and save as many as they could. As for him, he wanted to go alone to save his sister. At that time Red Hair came out to save Miu from Phil. It's the same guy who used to bully others, and Akatsuki had taught him a lesson. He knew he's no match for Phil, yet he bravely faced him. His clone skills weren't useful, but he felt ashamed of his past, because he refused to believe he was weak and bullied a guy who later tried to harm many others. But not anymore. Red Hair wanted to face his weakness with pride, and Phil fulfilled his wish. But he spared the guy because he only kills members of the Dark Clan. Then after a while Akatsuki appears and did the emergency healing again. Then he told Motoharu to take this guy to the hospital real quick, and he himself goes on to follow the trail. And just then the student council announced the exam has been cancelled due to emergency situations, and asked everyone to return back to school. Now all that's left is to get to Miu. But Phil already got to her first. He pins her down and Miu was completely helpless. She knew her friends and Akatsuki would come to save her. And Phil told her not to involve innocent lives in this matter, because as long as she lives she will only bring disaster to others. And seeing her cry, Akatsuki was raging to go all out. He arrived on time, but sadly Phil was successful in breaking Miu from inside. Phil couldn't make any sense of why Akatsuki was fighting a fellow human for the Dark Lord's daughter. But if he insists, then Phil is ready to kill him in the name of hero. Phil's deepest wish is to be a hero, but Akatsuki's energy manipulation is rivaling him easily. Energy manipulation lets him create an energy bomb as well, and it did a number on Phil, but still Phil was alright. And he brings up Queen Listy in the conversation to throw Akatsuki off guard because she and Akatsuki are friends. Phil wanted to be a hero, that's why he destroyed the former hero's grave. So surely Listy must be in deep shock right now. But Phil wants the title of hero anyhow, so he was ready to go to such lengths. Plus he didn't have monstrous strength like Akatsuki. But he's extremely fast, and he took Miu as hostage to get away from here. But before that Akatsuki realized why this dude was so nuts about becoming a hero. And the reason is jealousy. That little prick is jealous that someone out there is stronger than him, which is why he wants to prove that he's much better. Phil took the provocation and obviously Akatsuki showed him his place. But their Miu ran off because of what Phil said earlier. She now believes that anyone who gets closer to her will die, and she will be the reason for that. She doesn't want that type of fate and tried to commit suicide, but Akatsuki saved her life and made her realize that she's wrong. Her father was the Dark Lord, a feared existence. And he fought to the very end bravely to create a safe world for his daughter, and now she wants to ruin his hard work and die. She was still hesitant to receive kindness out of fear. But Akatsuki pulls her into his embrace and kissed her to make her believe that he out of all people will always stay by her side. But Akatsuki was poisoned by Phil and it was spreading out quickly. And after that, Phil came back and he was ready to go for round 2 with a trump card in his hand. And at that time Izumi finally regained consciousness and she immediately wanted to go rescue Miu. But Kazuha told her that Akatsuki is already on it, so she should get some rest. But that Phil guy had made a pact with the dragon of Alayzard, and summoned it to tackle Akatsuki. Miu was worried, but they had no option left. So Miu wanted to be a decoy for Akatsuki so he could rest for a while and recover from poison, so she left on her own to keep Phil busy. She was leading him towards an urban area and Kazuha was already following her trail, but she met Akatsuki on the way. Dude was mostly healed up. And Izumi too showed up as she sensed Kazuha would leave her behind to come help Miu and Akatsuki. both ladies were stubborn that Akatsuki had to give up and let them tag along. So the two left to chase after Miu until Akatsuki fully recovers his health. Poor Miu was already on the verge of her defeat, but Haruka showed up on time. She wondered where Akatsuki, and Miu told her he's still recovering from the poison, so the student council lends a helping hand on keeping Phil busy for a while. And there Izumi and Kazuha came too. Numbers-wise our group were in advantage, but considering power level Phil was way ahead for them all combined, he lured Miu into a trap and took them all away to some other dimension. Now everything was under his control, others were down and he strangled Miu. Yet she had faith Akatsuki would arrive to save her because he's a true hero, unlike him that even her father, the Dark Lord, had recognized. Phil had enough and he was casting his spell to return back to Alayzard, but right before that Akatsuki came on his bike. From here on out he took the fight. But his blade wasn't doing much good to the hard scale. It was to be expected, so both were concentrating their powers for a one-hit attack, and as the dust settles down Akatsuki was completely fine. And so was Phil. But Akatsuki's blade shattered, so he has to go by bare hands now, so Haruka offered him her band to fill in the gap. Witnessing this, Akatsuki again dives into that battle. He stabbed the blade on Phil, but still he was going on offense, so he used another spare band he had kept hidden to call out to his blade, and this time he ended Phil's game. Now this news reached the higher-ups of Cocoon. They were surprised how Akatsuki and his friends managed to take down a higher life form, yet that wasn't more concerning than their secret plan. For this plan they are even willing to make immense sacrifice should it require. Well, who knows what that is, but for now the peaceful days are back, but back in Alayzard. Listy found out Phil was a contractor of the dragon, so she was pretty ticked, because both Dark Lord and the dragon are no good evil beings. Baram saw no problem in it, so Listy asked how will he take responsibility if Phil fails, and how can he take responsibility for Phil's good and evil deeds. Baram offered to apologize endlessly if Phil fails until Listy is satisfied, but news came that some big monsters have started fighting, because Dragon Zahak has perished. And that caused the lesser monsters to roam free. That means Phil died and now Baram is screwed. And another news is that the Dark Clan has started to attack them again. So Listy remembers Akatsuki in this situation and called him with all her heart, and he felt Listy's call, so he and Mo honestly told everything to Izumi and Kazuha. And now Akatsuki wants to return back to Alayzard as he sensed some troubles brewing in that world again, so Izumi and Kazuha were ready to accompany them too. And right in the moment of teleportation, Haruka and Motahara showed up to join them for this new adventure. And right there our anime ends, but stay tuned to watch more anime recaps, and for that, subscribe the channel and don't forget hit the bell icon to never miss any update. Till then, take care.